Hi, I'm Jeanette Ochs, and this is What Is She Up To Now? We are in Loveland, Colorado, on Coyote Ridge, and my guest today is the original J-Lo, John Lowe. Today we're going to be talking about hiking. How are you, John?
Great.
Good, good. What got you into hiking?
Well, did a little as a kid up in Glacier National Park where I went to school, but I never really fell in love with it until about 6 years ago. I was up on Pikes Peak with my aunt, and we were hiking around Devil's Playground, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is different than anything I'm used to. And then I just started hiking. My first hikes were in Rocky Mountain National Park. It used to be that I could only do a couple miles, and then I was dead. And then driving down, I would have to slap myself to keep myself awake. But then I just slowly worked it up, and now I'm doing 14ers and other stuff.
Speaking of 14ers, how many have you done?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 10, 12.
And how many is there total?
Something like 40-some.
40-some? Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay. And so with hiking, in northern Colorado, for the novice, what would be your suggestion to start off for a nice hike for somebody who's never done it before?
It all depends on what they're looking for. A lot of the local hikes are like this one. They're just as pretty, but they're a lot more accessible. But even some of the local hikes can be very, very long. Like up in a Horsetooth, you can have, I think, as many as 30-mile trails.
Oh.
So there's hundreds of miles of trails up Horsetooth. I think I did a trail over there by Red Mountain. That was 12 miles where we hiked into Wyoming and then back. So there's all sorts of local hikes that are any type of difficulty level. But if you go up in the mountains, that's when you get into the really harder stuff, especially off-trail. Rocky Mountain National Park has Long's Peak, which of course kills usually one person a year.
Oh my goodness, did not know that. Okay, and so now that we're right here at Coyote Ridge, you know, it's probably an easier hike for people just starting.
It's a good little beginner hike. I wouldn't say it's easy. There are other hikes that are easier. If you go all the way up to the top, that's a good 800-foot gain. So I mean, that's not something that anyone can just walk off the trail. I mean, you could, but you're going to feel it. Now, all sorts of other easy hikes would be things like, well, the Poudre Trail. That's a beautiful easy hike, and that's all flat. Some of the hikes over at Horsetooth are nice and flat. Rabbit Mountain, that's pretty nice and easy. You do climb a little to begin with, but then you just hike around the mountain, and then when you're right there at the foothills, it gives you kind of cool looking view where you get to look out east and see the flat plains, but then you look up west and you see the huge mountains, so it's kind of neat.
That sounds beautiful.
And of course there's the Devil's Backbone, which is an easy hike but very, very pretty.
Yes, that's probably one of my favorites. And it's all right here in our backyard for northern Colorado.
Yeah, there's all sorts of hikes right in the area. There's Laurie Park. There's all sorts of state parks. Like I said, there's Red Mountain. I've heard a lot of good things about the Pawnee Grasslands because not a lot of people go out there because it's nice and flat. But if you like solitude, that's a good place to go.
Solitude. I'm going to have to check that out. What do people do? What is the biggest mistake people do when they go for a hike that they don't bring, or something that everybody should have when they go on a hike?
Oh, well, okay, everyone should have water always. And
no matter how short.
no matter how short, you never know what's going to happen. You should always bring water because you can live for days without food. Water will knock you out real quick. Almost always the people that die backcountry do it because of lack of water.
So always have your water with you, but like everybody's big on the trail mix. Is that something that you carry with you, or have you found something different that works better for you in the food department?
I generally don't eat much on trails because I tend to get indigestion really easy when I'm working out and eating.
I love the truth. Okay.
So I don't normally eat. I also drink a little, but when I'm up in a higher altitude, you need to hydrate. Lack of hydration is the quickest way of getting altitude sickness that I know of.
Oh, okay.
Altitude
Makes
sickness
sense.
affects everyone differently. But the one time I got it was the one time I didn't take enough water with me.
I've never even thought about that. The lack of water and going up higher causes something chemical, physically in your body.
It will knock you on your butt.
Wow, okay. Jeez, well, I'm learning all sorts of great stuff right now. This is great. Another question I had, we were talking about movies. And so I want to know, when it comes to wilderness, what is the best scene you've ever had with a wilderness movie?
Okay, well, I'm not sure this counts for wilderness, but there's this movie on Netflix. It's called A Year in Antarctica. And it's about a guy who took his photography equipment, and a lot of it time-lapse photos, of a year that he spent down in Antarctica. And you get to the dark scenes where it's no light at all, but you get to see the aurora borealis. And then you actually get to see it when the sun comes up and goes an entire circle, and he does a whole time-lapse video of the sun moving around in a circle.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
And what's it called again?
I think it's called A Year in Antarctica. And if I ever decide to quit my job, I might consider trying to apply for an Antarctica position.
Nice. I think you'd be very, very good at
That's
it.
pretty neat.
And so do you take people on hikes?
Sometimes, yeah. I just took Kendra up on a 14er because that was on her bucket list, and she's never done a 14er before. And we researched an easy one to do and knocked it out pretty easy.
Nice, nice. Now, when I'm talking about the wilderness and hiking and all of that, my biggest fear is always those predators that are out there, and the movies have glorified bears and mountain lions and how much damage they can do. In reality, what do you have to say about that?
That's probably the least thing that you should worry about. Actually, you can look it up on a Wikipedia page. I think there's been 10 deaths due to mountain lions in the last 20 years. In almost every single case, it's a young kid that got separated from the group, or it was an animal that got separated from the group, and then they tried to save the animal and then got caught with the mountain lion. With bears, very rarely does the person that get attacked and killed by a bear not deserve it. Almost always they startled the bear or got too close to the bear with the cub. If you're with a group, with a grizzly bear, I think it's 10 times less likely to be attacked. If you carry bear spray, you're far more likely to survive an encounter than you are with a gun or anything like that. But even with grizzly bear attacks, you're talking about maybe 1 or 2 a year. You're far more likely to die from a sulfur.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact about sulfates. So that was bears and cougar and mountain lions, but like deer or moose or...
Actually, moose are probably the most dangerous animal you're going to find, simply because they're ornery, and people like to get close and take pictures, and they don't necessarily like people. Another danger that people don't really respect are elk, especially if they're in Rocky Mountain National Park, because they're all over the place. But when they're in rutting season, you don't want to annoy them.
All right. Clothing was another thing I wanted to talk to you about. What is a mistake that people make with their clothing choices for, say, like a 5-mile hike?
Well, the biggest danger they'll always say is cotton. They'll say that cotton kills. And the reason why they say that is that when wet, cotton will actually take your heat away. It won't let you maintain your heat. So when you're up in the high mountains, you get wet, the wind starts coming up. It's the quickest way to hypothermia that you can get. Now, cotton's really, really comfortable, though, obviously.
Yep.
And so when you're at lower altitudes, it's a really great thing for keeping the sweat and keeping you cool as well. So you always be aware of cotton, and depending on where you want to go. I would say the thing you want to be careful of is sun. Too much sun, especially if you're like me, it will ruin your weekend.
So sunscreen,
Yeah.
water, sunscreen.
But sunscreen doesn't even do it for me. That's why I have my stupid little hat, which is a hat umbrella, because it gives me the shade. Because
Really?
oftentimes I can get sunburn from the reflection off the ground or the snow.
I cannot believe how much I'm learning today. Wow, John. I'm just amazed at what a novice I am. Okay, but that's why I have you here. So, and a lot of people seem to not get the right shoes for hiking. And everybody has their own choice and style and all of that. But saying during the summer, do you want to go calf high, ankle high with snakes around, or pants long? And I mean,
generally
what will
speaking,
work?
boots aren't going to save you unless you're wearing cowboy boots or something really high from a snake. Best thing to do with snakes is don't step on them. But for shoes, it's really hard to tell people what they should wear because everyone's different. I tend to go higher boot simply because I have weak ankles and it really helps protect an ankle. If you twist an ankle backcountry, it can really ruin your day. It happened to me once on the Lion Lakes hike, and I had to create a splint with my duct tape and limp out.
Jeez.
But I would say wear what's comfortable, but definitely don't wear new shoes on a hike.
That I have never understood.
The other thing that helps is sometimes if you wear a small little liner underneath the sock, that way the liner will stick to your foot and the rubbing will happen between the two sock layers instead of between your foot and the sock. What tends to cause blisters is heat and moisture. And so when you get the rubbing with the moisture of the sweat, that will give you the blisters.
Okay, makes sense. Well, you're sweating because you're walking, and then your foot's moving because you're walking again. Okay, that's really great advice. Back to, if I saw a bear, what do I want to do?
Take good pictures.
Say, freeze, I'm taking a picture.
No, and as long as he's not too close, or she, or whatever, as long as they're not too close, you're absolutely fine. They're beautiful animals to go watch. Matter of fact, if they see you and you see them, that's your safest part. It's when you startle them, that's where it becomes dangerous. And you got to remember that bears are hard of hearing. Bears don't hear or see really well either. They're about the same. They're about the same height with their vision sense and the hearing sense as us. And so, how many times do you get startled in the wilderness when you turn a corner and you're like, "Whoa, what the heck?" Same thing with them. They will tend to either fight or fly. But what they are very sensitive with is their nose, and that's where bear spray is very, very effective. Because what bear spray will do, as opposed to a gun, with a gun, you invoke a fight impulse in the bear. With a bear spray, what you'll tend to do is you'll invoke a sudden pain reflex on their most sensitive organ, and that will tend to make them go away.
All right, great advice. Fire. Have you built a fire without matches before? I always wanted to know.
I'm very anti-fire.
Okay.
Believe it or not, that's one of the things I least liked about the Colorado Trail when I hiked it, was all the campsites. Everyone, since it's a well-known and well-hiked through hike, everyone tends to make these campsites, and you have fire rings and all that other stuff. And I find that kind of disappointing. Disappointing. I like to see the wilderness in a more untouched state. So when I do go backcountry, I tend to carry a stove, and you can have these. They have these new stoves where you can actually have a campfire in the stove, and what that will do is that will not allow a camp scar, and therefore no one knows that you've been there. The whole leave no trace. And what it will do is you put like pine cones or small bark or small twigs and light it. It'll give you the same flame as a regular campfire, same smell,